everyone, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to another episode of As I See It. This is my political channel called As I See It, where I talk politics and current events and history and things like that. So if you clicked on this because you saw my face and you're expecting RV life, that's not what this is about. I know a lot of you were really anxious to hear from me about my reaction to the debate. I have been traveling cross country. I have a day job. This is a hobby, and frankly, I think about politics all the time, especially over the last 10 years since it's just been so stressful. And I think a lot about what I want to make videos about. I'm feeling, honestly, a little overwhelmed by everything that's going on. And all that overwhelm is kind of making it hard for me to focus on a single topic that I want to talk about. There's a million things I want to talk about. So the debate, yeah, I think I don't have anything new to say. It was wonderful. She did a great job. She got him, she baited him into being Donald Trump, which was brilliant. There were some things that I wish she had said that she didn't say, so I would really love to see another debate, but of course Donald Trump is too chicken. But what I want to talk about today is fitness for office. I want to talk about hiring someone for the most important job in the country, if not the world. We're a superpower. The United States is one of the strongest nations, the most powerful nations in the world. We are a leader in many aspects in the world. People look to us as an example, or at least they used to, of what a democracy or a democratic republic, as many people want to remind us of, but they look to us of what that might look like, since we are the first country in the world to do that, to do this wonderful experiment, to be of the people and by the people. So we are hiring somebody for a very, very, very extremely important job. Not only to govern domestic issues, to make rules and laws over our lives. And I just saw a Lawrence O'Donnell piece, I know a lot of you probably watch him, about how if Trump wins, how he's going to rule the Supreme Court for the next 30 or 40 years with his people. Yeah, imagine Trump winning again and forcing Alito and Thomas to resign, or enticing them, paying them a lot of money to resign early, and Trump getting more picks on that court. We're screwed for the next couple generations. And I'm sorry, this video might be a little all over the place. As I just said, I'm feeling a little unfocused. But we are, in about 50 days, we are going to the polls to elect, to hire the person to run arguably the most powerful country in the world. And when we look at each candidate and who they are, what they're about, what they represent, their character, their morality, their intelligence, their intellect, their mental acuity, their fitness, their intelligence, their integrity, their maturity, when we compare each candidate on those things, the choice is clear. We have one candidate, and I just, part of the reason I struggle with making these videos is because I know I'm preaching to the choir, and what I really would like to do is to be able to reach people, and I know I'm not. And I think that's the frustration many of us have. The hardcore Trump supporters are never going to hear reason. They're never going to be able to see what we see. And what I see is a petulant, toxic, narcissistic, psychopathic, dementia-ridden candidate versus an extremely qualified, extremely empathetic, extremely personable, extremely moral, and has values, and she cares about people. And I think this is why I'm struggling so much, because what do you say anymore? There's nothing else to say. We have morality and a good person who has given her whole life to the service of others on one hand, and a guy who blew his father's millions, declared bankruptcy, ripped off contractors, the very people who are defending him to the T, ripped people off, didn't pay his contractors, started a school to rip off people who wanted to better their lives, had to shut down a nonprofit in New York because they were using it to steal money, who was found by a jury of his peers to be liable for rape, to have cheated on every wife he ever had. The guy who is now hanging out with a complete psycho, Laura Loomer, who, by the way, I want to know who she works for. That's a whole other video I wanted to make. Who does Laura Loomer work for? She's cozying up to what could be the most powerful man in the world. It just seems really interesting to me, considering all the Russian influence on content creators. You probably all caught that story. And I just wonder who she works for. And it makes me really nervous that she's now right there next to him on his plane, right on his arm. Here's a guy who doesn't have the intelligence or the integrity or the moral compass or just the sense to distance himself from someone who is so disgusting and polarizing. You want to put a man who is buddy-buddy with this disgusting human being in charge of the nuclear codes, in charge of making deals with other countries, in charge of your life. This guy who tweets, "I hate Taylor Swift," because she endorsed Kamala Harris. So when we are talking about hiring someone to run our country, do you really think it's smart to hire someone who lacks judgment? He's got zero judgment. He basically goes toward whatever makes him feel good, whoever flatters him, whatever benefits him. This whole disgusting lie that they started about the Haitian immigrants in Ohio is hurting people. So here's the thing I've been thinking a lot today, listening to all of this news about how schools are having to be evacuated in Springfield, Ohio. These poor little Haitian kids are having to evacuate their school because of bomb threats. Haitian families are fearing for their lives, who are there legally, by the way, and who, by the way, zero evidence that any pets are getting eaten. It's just ridiculous. I am a YouTuber. I've been a YouTuber for about 8 years. I remember very early on, and I have 169,000 subscribers. Trump has millions and millions and millions of followers, millions of people who listen to him. I learned very early, probably within my first month, that I have a platform and I need to be careful with what I say and how I say it. You really have to think about your words because of how they can be taken and how they can be misconstrued. In fact, I just did a video about some laws in RV life, and people misconstrued what I was saying and thought they heard me encouraging people to lie. That is not. I was very, very, very careful about how the words I chose so that I was not encouraging people to lie. But my point is, anybody with a microphone knows that you have to be very careful, that it is a power, that you have to be very careful of how you use it. And so Trump is careless and lacks judgment. And again, sorry, I've been painting. See, and people point out my fingernails all the time. I tried cleaning them, but I've been painting. I've got gray paint. But he lacks the judgment or the concern and care to censor himself, to say, maybe I really shouldn't say that about Haitians because maybe it'll harm some people. Maybe it'll harm some children. No, he doesn't care. He lacks no judgment or empathy or sympathy because all he cares about is himself. And you want to put that guy in the White House? You want to put that guy who will sacrifice anybody, throw anybody under the bus if it suits him. We have seen it time and time again. Whenever anybody is disloyal to him, he throws him under the bus. Do you think he's not going to do that to you? Do you really think, I want you to just sit for a minute and think about this man. Think about everything you see of him. And do you really think, when it comes down to it, he's going to have your interest at heart and not his? Do you really want to put a guy in charge of our nukes who has zero judgment, zero self-control, and that has any concern for anyone but himself? And I mean, this has all been said a million times. Everybody is saying it. And I just feel I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of saying it. Like I said earlier, we're not going to be able to convince the people, the diehard Trumpers. I don't even know about the independents and the undecideds anymore. Do they listen to me? What do they think of this? You know what? Actually, let me know. Let me know below if there are any undecideds here, or even any Trump supporters. Tell me in the comments below. And I want to know, is any of this resonating? And if it's not resonating, do you really still believe that everything I'm saying is delusional? That I'm just suffering from Trump derangement syndrome? Do you really think that it's okay for him to lie about a whole community of lawful immigrants and putting them in danger, in harm's way? And when he was pushed back on it during the debate, they pushed back and said, ABC researched this and there is no evidence. And did you remember what he said? But I saw it on TV. I saw it on TV. Is that the sign of an intelligent, critical thinker? Is that the sign of someone you want in the White House? Who's just going to run with something he sees on TV? Or something he hears from Laura Loomer? Or something he sees on Twitter without verifying it before using his giant megaphone to spread it around the country, around the world, and put people's lives in danger? Do you really think that's okay? Do you really want to trust the controls of the most powerful nation in the world to a guy, when pushed, said, well, I saw it on TV? Really? That's someone you can trust? That's someone who you think is intelligent enough to work with world adversaries, to negotiate trade deals, to negotiate with Congress on laws that are going to be best for you? I saw it on TV. Laura Loomer said it. It must be true. That is not an intelligent thinking person. That is a desperate person who will do and say anything for his own benefit. That's how I see it. Let me know how you see it. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for being here. Subscribe to my channel if you like my content. And I know this is a little bit of a rant. I told you there's a lot going on. And I think a lot of us are probably feeling pretty overwhelmed at this point. We just want it to end. I just want it to end. And one more thought. I'm gonna leave one more thought. I just put this on Threads. I quit Twitter, by the way. I'm on Threads at Carolyn's RV Life. And I am, besides the stress of all the chaos, and Trump is going to escalate. Anybody with, it's not toxic narcissism, malignant narcissism and sociopathy, psychopathy, sociopathy, whatever. Anybody who has that type of mental illness, they escalate, and his back is against the wall. He's losing. He's going to escalate. And that's really starting to scare me. I'm really starting to be concerned about how far he will go. He's got alliances with some pretty powerful dictators, with some pretty powerful militaries and weapons. Those allies of his, those dictators, would love to see him president. The whole Egypt story, have you heard about that? China, Russia, there are countries who want to see him in office because it will benefit them. And I'm really starting to get concerned about the safety of Harrison Waltz, for one thing, and how far this whole MAGA machine will go to cause chaos, to disrupt the election cycle, maybe to disrupt the election itself. I'm starting to get really worried. What if these 2 assassination attempts on Trump are just a preface, a prelude, a warm-up to say, yeah, see, they tried to get Trump too. I don't know. My mind is going kind of crazy right now. I will admit that. But I think that the concern that something really chaotic and bad might happen between now and the election, I probably am not the only one concerned about that. We are seeing a very desperate, psychotic, unhinged person who has, unfortunately, some very powerful friends. So leave your thoughts below. I'll see you next time.